Good afternoon to you all. Good morning. Thank you all very much for being here today. I appreciate you coming. I probably will not really say much before we go ahead and start, but I would like to just see if how many people here by raising hands are not familiar with Bashar or not familiar with channeling. Okay, there are just a few of you. All right. Well, I will just probably go right ahead and let Bashar come through. The only real important thing to say is that the most important thing about this is the information itself and not so much exactly where the information is coming from, because it's the information that has the ability to help people. So that's why we concentrate on that rather than exactly who's giving it. But Bashar does present himself, does come through as another entity, an extraterrestrial entity, and you can certainly treat him as real, and you can ask him questions about himself and his people as well if that's of interest to you at some point. So I think without waiting any longer, I'm just going to allow the connection to be made and let Bashar come through and say what he has to say today and share with you.
I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you? We thank each and every one of you for this interaction, this day of your time. Each and every time we are allowed to interact with your world, it allows our world to understand another part of the universe, and this to us is a very great gift. So we thank you. We will be speaking today about your world as it exists now and the many probable future ideas that may occur in time to come. But first, it is important when speaking of the future to always remember that there is no such thing as one set future. There are only many probable future realities that all coexist right now. The idea of past and present and future is only an illusion, for there is no time. Time and space are just, if you will, side effects. They are side effects that occur in your mind as the result of the average of all the changes in creation. The experience of time and space is a side effect, then, of the result of the average of all the different possible past, present, and future ideas that all exist now. The future is just a different now, seen from a different perspective. Or, more precisely, it is the same now, because there is only one moment, but it is seen from a different point of view. So any future that we may discuss today already exists side by side with your experience of the present. And therefore, it is up to each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively to decide which alternate now that you call the future you would prefer to experience. Thus you can understand from this explanation that it is not a matter of waiting for the future to come to you. It is already here. It is simply up to you to decide which different, parallel, and simultaneous now moment you will experience next. But let us talk now about the world as you know it now, your planet as you know it now, to see what conditions exist that might tend to push your energy in the direction of a particular next now. As you are all aware on your planet, now is a time of great change and acceleration. There is growing understanding of spirituality and consciousness on your planet at this time. It is because of these changes in the understanding of consciousness that makes it possible for our planet and other beings to communicate with you at this time. Now, there has always been communication between human people on Earth and beings from other levels of consciousness or dimensions of reality. That has always been going on. But now changes in your Earth society have made it possible for these interactions to become a little bit more physicalized, as in the present style of communication. Before this time, many of the communications from spirit or other dimensional beings took place in your dreams or in your unconscious mind. This was important to be done this way so as to make sure that our communications with your people would not interfere with your sense of choice and sense of free will. Then, as people upon the earth began to remember more of their spiritual connection to creation, it became more possible for these communications to become more obvious. Once many people on your planet began to accept the possibility that there could be communication with other beings on other dimensions and other planets, then that created an atmosphere that made it easier for us to be able to speak with you without interfering with your free will. Because now, with your new understanding that there is more to life than just physical reality, many people on your planet began to choose to want to interact with beings from other worlds and other dimensions of existence. And when you began to choose to want to interact, then your energy went out into the universe like an invitation to other worlds, letting us know that it was now appropriate to be able to interact with you in more open ways. Now, what this means ultimately is that your planet of Earth is slowly becoming a member of a much larger neighborhood of civilizations. You are no longer just going to be by yourselves. Therefore, you are beginning to realize that there is life in a variety of forms, in many dimensions, on many planets, and that it is now possible to, on some levels, interact with that life, such as our world and other worlds. This kind of interaction creates very large change upon your planet, and thus must be handled in a very delicate manner to still allow all of you to have the free will to choose what you want your planet to be. And as this communication today unfolds, we will be discussing what some of the impact on your planet can be when you begin to interact with other worlds. But first, let us explore a little bit about where your planet is now within its relationship to itself. Because it is this relationship with yourselves on your own planet that will determine the nature of the relationship that Earth will ultimately develop with other planets as well. So as we have already said, your planet is going through many changes, and these changes are beginning to happen faster and faster and faster. You are seeing many different kinds of changes within all of the different societies on your planet at this time. Many old systems are beginning to break down and not work like they used to. Many of the resources on your planet are beginning to run out. That is, the resources you have been using for a long time. This does not mean that there are not other resources, and you are beginning to discover some of them. Many of your economic structures are beginning to fluctuate and no longer work in the way that they used to. And this is because you are beginning within your consciousness to reevaluate what the idea of an economy means. You are beginning to reevaluate what is important to you as a people. You are beginning to realize that not only is there more than just physical reality, but there is more to life than just certain expected ideas. And as you begin to break down old ideas within your mind, then the old ideas in your society also must break down as a reflection. And the planet as well will exhibit many reflections and physical changes over time of the change that your consciousness is going through now. Some of these changes, both in physical earth terms and in society terms, can be abrupt, and many of the changes can be subtle. The thing to understand is that regardless of the type of change, whether it be physical or societal or spiritual, you have the ability to decide in what way you will experience the change. But there is no reason or need to fear these changes, for ultimately you are bringing these things about to create a new world, a new understanding. At the same time, many of you might be creatively using fear to shake you free from your old ways of thinking. Many of you know that sometimes creating a situation that is a little bit scary can allow you to come out of your complacency, out of your monotony, out of your habits. Now, I am not saying that you must create fear in order to change. I am simply saying that if you do create fear during the change, there are ways to use the fear positively and constructively. Let us use the example that exists on your planet that you call the roller coaster amusement ride. Many of you find that being a little bit scared on the roller coaster ride is actually fun. You know that ultimately you are safe on the ride, and so it is all right for you to be scared for a little while because you know at the end you will be safe again. And so in that context, fear becomes fun. It becomes thrilling. It becomes exciting for you and gives you a chance to let go and see a new perspective. It gives you an opportunity to relax control and trust that you will be all right no matter how wild the ride might seem. Humans on Earth are very, very, very clever people. And by creating such things as a roller coaster ride, you have created a tool that you can apply in other areas of your life when things become a little bit scary. So I am suggesting that you have an opportunity to use the idea of the roller coaster in order to be able to apply this concept to different changes and things that are going on your planet at this time, so that you can know that no matter what the changes or how scary they may seem now, ultimately you are safe. Now, one of course, the strongest manifestations of fear on your planet at this time are individuals who have at their disposal very powerful weaponry, and you are afraid that they may use this weaponry to destroy many things. Of course, the first thing to understand is that the individuals that you call terrorists are themselves very, very, very afraid. They are very scared people. These are individuals that do not trust their lives. They do not trust creation. They do not trust their connection to the infinite. They are afraid. They are terrified of feeling disconnected from life. And because they are terrified that life has abandoned them, they try to control everything around them, thinking that that will make things less scary for them. But this attempt to control everyone else and dominate everyone else is just making their fear worse and worse and worse. They believe that destruction gives them power, but destruction is a symbol of their fear that they are actually powerless. True power comes in creating something. It takes no power to destroy something. That is why it is easier to knock something down or blow something up than it is to build something. True power requires sensitivity and delicate touch. That is why the greatest power of all, that which you might call God or the infinite creation, has the lightest touch at all, and you can barely feel its presence in your everyday lives. All that creation has to do is to be. It is so powerful, it does not have to do anything else. The individuals that believe they must do the most in order to force life into the way they want it are the individuals who believe they have the least amount of power. If somebody believes that they must force their point of view on someone else, then obviously they do not believe that their point of view has any natural power by itself. But because they are disconnected from creation, they do not understand this and think that the only way to create power is to make everyone have the same point of view. And then also they become afraid of individuals who will not share their point of view, and thus, because of their fear, they wish then to harm them. The fearful terrorist people wish to silence any other opinion or point of view so they will not have to hear that there might be something different than the way they think things should be. Because they already feel disconnected and powerless and worthless, they are afraid that if some other point of view should turn out to be correct, then they think that means their point of view is also worthless and they will have no purpose in life. What they do not understand, because they are blinded by their fear, is that all points of view are correct. And that is because the universe and creation is infinite. And when something is infinite, then that means any idea, any belief, any reality, any opinion, any point of view is equally true and exists as a reality somewhere within creation. All perspectives are a part of the infinite creator. One is not more true than another, but they are all very important in and of themselves. Because each different perspective and each different idea allows individuals to understand a different aspect, a different point of view of creation. And when you add all the points of view together, then it is easier to understand creation as a whole. Now, all of these kinds of conflicts that are going on your planet may seem to be things that will be creating very negative consequences. But you must understand that the negative point of view is also a valid point of view. Now, this does not mean, if you accept that negative point of view is valid, that you must condone destructive acts. That's not what that means. What it means, though, is that if you accept that negative point of view is part of the whole creation, then you can learn to balance that energy and allow for a positive result to come from negative intention. And you can learn to communicate with individuals that have negative point of view in a way that can allow there to be a blending and an understanding and a growth. And one way to begin to understand this is to realize that all of the conflicts that exist upon your planet at this time and that seem to be accelerating is another way of recognizing that your collective humanity is working many, many different issues out and getting them out of its system all at once. You are saying to yourselves, by creating this accelerated conflict, that now you believe, as a society, you are powerful enough and strong enough to be able to look at all of these issues of fear, bring them all out in the open, and learn to transform them in positive ways. So while on one hand, you have the opportunity or choice to look at all of the conflict and all of the things that are breaking down and say, oh, maybe all these things are leading to the possible destruction of the planet, there is also another way you can look at it. You can say, instead, in a positive way, now all of this is coming out onto the table so that we can see what it is we no longer prefer in our society, and that can help us decide what it is we prefer our world to be in the future. Now, in your history, you have decided these things on many different levels. First, there was an acceleration to decide how to deal with these kinds of things when you were living at the level of tribes. For as you encountered other tribes, it became important to find a way to understand each other and resolve your conflicts. And then tribes became villages. And as you encountered other villages, then you had to do the same process again so that you could all get along and learn to live together. And then your villages became kingdoms and became countries. And countries went to war with each other because, again, they had to find ways to resolve their differences, or perhaps they sat down and talked. So you have experienced this kind of acceleration and this kind of breakdown and this kind of change many times on many different levels. But now you are becoming one planet. And now the conflicts that you must deal with and must resolve are the internal conflicts with yourselves as a whole planet. What you are learning now is the very important process of discovering how to preserve your unique differences while at the same time allowing you to support the totality of your global community in a positive and constructive way. You are at a point in your history now where you are on the very edge of being about to engage and encounter other civilizations. And so you must resolve all the issues internally within your own civilization, within your own planet, before you will be ready to move to the next stage of interacting with other planets, other civilizations. Well, just as you began to negotiate, to understand each other on the tribal level and the village level and the nation level, now you are beginning to have communications like this one with other civilizations to begin to lay the foundation for mutual interaction. But just as you discovered when tribes merged together, or villages merged together, or nations merged together, you had to become something a little bit different in order for something new to be created. Now, this does not mean that you must completely give up what you were or what you are. The idea of everything that you have ever been, in every way that you have ever expressed it, is very important to preserve and to cherish and to learn from. But you also are beginning to understand that in order to expand beyond just your planet and begin to interact with other civilizations, you must, while preserving what you are, also become something a little bit different than what you have been. And that is one of the reasons why there are so many polarities and so many conflicts and so many challenges on your planet today all over your world. You are noticing that the greatest amount of conflict is coming from those areas of your planet that are the least willing to look at new ideas or to incorporate blending into their old ideas. And that is why many such people are striking out very destructively. It is because in their heart they do not believe or they cannot see that they have a place in such a new world. So rather than change or allow the world to change, from their fear they would rather destroy the world so that it stays the same as it always has been. Now, even though they may seem capable of doing very much damage, you must understand that there really are, in the overall scheme of things, not that many of these people. The vast majority of people on your planet are somewhere in the middle. They understand that change is inevitable, that change is constant, but they are perhaps a little bit uncertain about where they fit into the change, but they know it could be a good thing. And then there are also a small number of people who understand, who have the ability to see where all the change is going, and they recognize that it is important to look for new ways to express this kind of change. These inventing or pioneering people are looking for ways to allow the change to be incorporated into the whole society in the smoothest way possible so that the transitions you are going through can be experienced by most of you in a positive and constructive way rather than a destructive or fearful way. And the numbers of people that are willing to explore new avenues, new ideas, and new perspectives is also growing exponentially on your planet. Again, for example, the reason that this communication can occur today is because there are enough people on your planet that are willing to believe that such communication is not only possible, but desirable. They recognize that communications with other beings and other perspectives and other civilizations can give your world new ideas that may help them to incorporate into their transformation and allow the transformation to be easier. Many of the other worlds that belong to our group of association of worlds, they have gone through some similar things that your planet is going through now in their path. And so we can, in these communications, bring to your attention and your knowledge some of the different ideas that those worlds used to successfully create their own positive transformations, and perhaps some of these ideas and tools will also work for your planet. So please understand that while for now it may seem like you are the only ones in the universe and that you are experiencing all of these very dramatic changes on your planet all by yourself, you are really not alone. There are many different levels of help that are being given to all of you. As many more of you grow in your spiritual awareness, you have increased your ability to sense these other beings in spirit who are helping you. And you find yourselves creating more synchronicity in your life that attracts you into circumstances and situations, or puts you in touch with information that you need that can be of benefit to you, such as this communication and other kinds of books and communications and so forth. And you find that your increasing spirituality allows you to exercise your inspiration and imagination to think of new ideas and new ways of doing things and new inventions that are more representative of the direction in which your planet wishes to go. So that you see this in all the different ways that many of your people are now exploring, looking for alternate forms of energy and power that do not pollute your planet and do not use up your resources. You are beginning to explore new technologies that allow you to have inexhaustible endless and infinite power without causing any destruction on the planet in order to create it. Now, from time to time on your planet, in recent past, some individuals have now and then discovered certain ideas, such as these new forms of power. Such individuals as individual called Tesla on your planet was one such. And this individual understood how to tap directly into the electromagnetic field of your planet for unlimited and inexhaustible power. But that individual lived at a time on your planet when there was still a great deal of fear in many of the power structures and governments on your world. And because these power structures and companies and governments were in fear, then they were disconnected from the true idea of power. So instead of understanding that Tesla's discoveries would have made everyone on your planet, including them, more powerful, they were afraid that if they allowed Tesla's discoveries to come into existence, that they would become less powerful. And so many individuals and companies created a conspiracy to stop the Tesla inventions from being created. And this kind of scenario has happened several times in the past on your planet and is still happening on your planet today. And this fear and this attitude comes from the belief by these governments and corporations that there is not enough in the world to go around for everyone. But it is ironic that this belief that there is not enough comes from fear itself. So they have created for themselves a vicious circle, an endless circle of fear and belief. In other words, fear creates the belief that there is not enough. The belief that there is not enough creates fear, which creates more belief that there is not enough, which creates more fear, and on and on and on. But as individuals begin to grow in their spiritual awareness, they begin to realize that there is enough for everyone. They begin to recognize that the universe contains infinite abundance, because the universe is infinite. And if the universe is infinite, and thus must contain infinite abundance, then there must, by definition, be enough for everyone in the universe. Individuals who believe that there is not enough for everyone do not trust in the infinite abundance of the universe. They do not even believe it exists. What they are saying then is that the Creator is somehow stupid, because they are saying that they believe that the Creator would have created infinity, but then not created enough for everything in infinity in order to continue. They are saying that infinity is not really infinite, but this is a contradiction and an irrational understanding because of their fear. So you can begin with spiritual awareness to understand that this cannot be true, that if the universe is infinite, which it is, then there must by definition be an infinite amount of everything for everything in the universe. But now some of you may be thinking, oh, but wait a minute, the planet Earth is not everything in the universe. It is just one small part. But now with growing spiritual insight, you can begin to understand something very magical about the universe. And that is that every part of the infinite universe is also infinite. The paradox of infinity is that the whole is created of parts, but that the parts are also simply different reflections of the whole. It is only an illusion that parts are separate from the whole. There is a very important distinction to understand here. Every single part of creation is the whole of creation pretending to act as a part of creation. And that includes the idea of individual people as well. Every individual person is the infinite whole creation of all that is, acting like a part of all that is. Each individual person is a different perspective that the totality of creation has of itself. Each individual person, place, and thing in creation is just another way that the infinite creator has of seeing itself within creation, of understanding what it is in relation to all the other ways in which it sees itself. That is why, in our world, we call individual people and all the different things in creation, we call them the eyes of God. Each and every one of you is one of the eyes of God. Each and every one of you is a different perspective that creation has of experiencing itself. And this gives you some small clue and some small hint of exactly how powerful each and every individual truly is. And this is why it is important that spiritual growth is taking place on your planet today, because this awareness is what will allow you to create the world you really prefer. Each and every one of you is a beautiful facet of the multidimensional crystal of all that is. And you understand that this crystalline idea is one way of looking at creation as being a giant multifaceted crystal. And thus you recognize that the universe is information and relationship. And this is one way to organize information beautifully, is in a crystalline form. And this is why many of you in your spiritual growth are very attracted to the idea of crystals. Because it is a metaphor or a symbol for the idea of purified awareness and purified consciousness and purified information. And many of you will find that as you develop this understanding and relationship with crystalline forms of consciousness, that much of your technology will also begin to take the idea of the use of crystalline forms and become much simpler. A similar idea, or as an example, will be to look at the history of the technology of your clock. When individuals on your planet first invented clocks, they were very large and very complicated, having many different gears and so forth. And then they became, over time, simpler and simpler and simpler and simpler. And then your civilization discovered that crystals vibrate with such precision that by putting crystals in your clocks, they would be very precise and very pure timekeepers. So this example is a direct analogy of the evolution of your consciousness and the evolution of your technology on your planet. Where you are beginning to understand that this is really all one and the same thing. Your technology and your consciousness really are not different things. And just as you appreciate the entire form of the crystal with all of its facets, so now you are also, as a society, beginning to look more holistically at your world. Even in your history of business, you are beginning to understand that you are evolving over time from the management of many small parts into the idea of the management of whole systems all at once. And many companies on your planet are beginning to allow many of their divisions or departments or parts to function more closely like whole companies in and of themselves. And when the parts function like whole systems by themselves, then it requires less coordination and less effort to allow the different parts to function as a greater whole. And this allows the overall company to function in a more powerful way, because remember, as we said, the greatest power is represented by the gentlest touch. So when things upon your planet in different areas can be organized in such a way as to allow for the least amount of effort to coordinate them, then that system is functioning more in representation and reflection of a whole system, and it is more reflective of the whole universe. So you will see more and more evolution of this kind of relationship developing on your planet as you move toward more of a global understanding of how to allow all the different pieces on your planet to work in harmony together, while at the same time maintaining and valuing their unique individual differences. Eventually, your politics will reflect this, your business will reflect this, your economics will reflect this, your sociology will reflect this. All aspects of your society will begin to reflect this idea of the parts working together as a whole, and the whole supporting all of the parts. And the more smoothly all these different ideas on your planet work together, then the greater the vibration of your whole planet will become. The energy of your planet, the energy of life on your planet, all the people and all the things will rise and rise and rise and become more refined and more precise and more perfectly balanced. And the more the energy of your planet rises, then the easier it is for our planet and other planets with different energy frequencies to be able to interact with your planet. Because the civilizations that are already functioning as whole systems have a very, very, very high frequency of energy. Now, this does not mean that they are better than your planet. It simply means that our planet and other planets and civilizations like our own are operating at a very high refined level of energy frequency. This is one of the reasons why interactions and exchanges between our civilization and your civilization must happen slowly, step at a time, very carefully. Because your planet has a lower energy frequency than our planet. Your individual bodies have lower energy frequency than our bodies and the bodies of other extraterrestrial beings in different dimensions of reality. Now, yes, there are civilizations, there are planets that have energy like yours or even lower than yours, but we are not really discussing them at this particular moment. It is interesting to understand that someday in your near future, you, when your energy changes to a higher frequency, will also be helping some of those other planets of lower frequency and help them through their transition and transformational age in a similar way to the way that we are helping your planet now. But let us get back for a moment to the idea of the differences between the frequencies of our respective energies. One of the reasons why there is a long period of time for many individuals to become more spiritually aware or to learn such techniques as channeling and so forth is because their bodies must over time acclimate to the higher energies that they will channel through or flow through their bodies. If this learning period or practice period were not done, then the higher energy coming through the lower energy body could have the effect of burning it out very quickly. This is also the reason why our civilization and other civilizations do not just land suddenly all of their spaceships upon your planet and step out and say hello all at once. If our bodies were to come even close to your bodies without enough time for you to acclimate to the different energy shift, it could cause damage to your physical forms. And we love you and do not want you to become damaged. So we tiptoe very softly and we interact with your civilization very slowly, a bit at a time. Then after a while we do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and come a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer. But we always respect your idea of what you want yourself and your world to be, and we watch your energy readings to decide when the time is correct for us to interact more closely. So when we sense that the energy within your individual bodies and your civilization has more integrated itself, more blended itself, and is more capable of absorbing more energy, then we can move a little bit closer, knowing that we will do no harm to you. So the timetable, the schedule, as it were, for when civilizations will then interact openly on your planet is actually really up to you. The more harmony, the more love, the more creativity you create on your planet, and the less fear that exists on your planet, then the easier it will be for us to recognize that you are ready for more interaction with our civilization and other worlds. So, these interactions, such as the communication going on today, are not only for the purpose of the exchange of information, but they are also for the purpose of allowing us to take a reading on the energy of your planet and see where you're at. Now, we recognize that you are accelerating faster and faster toward the time when it will be all right for our civilization to openly interact with your civilization. This time is coming up relatively soon, historically speaking. We find that there will be many changes in many different levels of your planet as we read your energy now over the next 10 of your years. Now, once again, remember, there is no such thing as a prediction of a fixed future. All we are doing is sensing the energy that exists at present that tells us what you are choosing as the most likely rate of change for your planet that makes it possible for us to interact with you. So please understand what I am about to say very carefully and clearly so that you do not misunderstand. None of what I'm about to say is absolute. It is simply the most likely scenario based on the energy we read in your society at this moment. And as we read your energy at this moment, it seems very likely that a few things will happen in the near future as follows. Sometime between your years of 2005 and 2010, the majority of the people on your planet will be aware that other civilizations do exist. Now, again, please understand how that statement was made. I did not say that, Bashar said a bunch of UFOs are going to land sometime between 2005 and 2010. So please do not go and run all over the place and tell people, Bashar said this, Bashar said that. What I am saying is that by a variety of avenues, by a variety of methods, you will know as a civilization between 2005 and 2010, most of you will know for a fact that there are other civilizations. This will be common knowledge on your planet sometime within that time frame. I have told you that our civilization belongs to a group of many civilizations that we call the Association of Worlds, or if you wish, you may refer to it as a type of interstellar alliance. Our interstellar alliance, just our interstellar alliance, which does not mean there are not others, but our interstellar alliance contains 415 different civilizations at this time. Now, once again, please pay careful attention to what I'm about to say and understand the way I am saying it. As we take a reading of the collective energy of your planet at this moment, if you decide to change the energy the way it's going now, in all likelihood, you will find that the Earth will become a member of the Interstellar Alliance somewhere around your year of 2037. Now, this has a range of probability between 2025 and 2040. And this range of probability is created by certain things on your planet that are not yet decided. It is decided by certain choices and decisions that your people on your planet, both individually and collectively, have yet to make. But at this moment, the highest degree of probability of all the collective decisions and all the collective energy on your planet says that somewhere around 2037, you will be joining the Interstellar Alliance as one whole unified world of Earth. Now, well before that time, there will be open interaction on a small scale between members of your planet and members of other planets. And this is most likely to happen somewhere between your years, obviously, of 2013 and 2025. But based on everything that we have communicated so far today in this dialogue, obviously many different kinds of things will have to change on your planet before this timing reaches its fruition. And that is why it is important that these kinds of communications continue from many different sources, not just from us, and why you continue your spiritual development and growth of consciousness awareness. And why it is important that you all begin to use more of your imaginations to create new social systems and new political systems and new power systems and new technology and all sorts of new things that will support and creatively help the entire planet instead of being destructive and polluting and so forth. Now, what I am about to say is a little bit of an exaggerated joke, but I think that by saying it this way, you will get the point more easily. Many people on your planet are wondering, well, why don't the extraterrestrials just come and land on our planet right now? Well, aside from the energy difference reason I have already explained, allow me to put it into a little bit of a different perspective. Imagine for a moment that you are in our place, that you are the extraterrestrial. And then someone on Earth says to you, well, we have many pieces of trash, and we have many poisons on the planet, and we have many weapons that can destroy everything. Why don't you come for a visit? No, thank you. We prefer clean and safe and beautiful and creative and loving environment. Thank you very much. Now, I do not say this to make you feel like you are less than us, and I do not say this to make you feel like you are in great danger and should be afraid. I only say this to remind you that the situation that your planet is in is the product of the choices you have made, and so it's totally in your control as to what kind of planet you have. But we prefer planets to live on and visit where we can drink the water and where the people are not pointing guns at us. I hope you will understand. We know that your planet is beautiful, and we know that you are all beautiful. The reason we are having this dialogue today is because this is our opportunity to remind you that your planet is beautiful, that you are beautiful, and that you can actually create it to look beautiful and be beautiful as well. And again, remember that it is very important from our point of view that we do not exert any undue influence over your choices of exactly the things you need to work out on your planet in terms of conflict resolution. That's up to you. For if we came to your planet in large numbers now, while all of this transformation is going on, many people on your planet would feel that their freedom to choose what to do had been taken away from them because they would see us as being more important than what's going on right on your own planet. So many of the things that are important to discuss today is your personal relationship to the way you believe that you can make a difference, that you can change yourself in order to help the planet change, and your relationship to the things that are going on your planet so that we can together explore ways in which they can be transformed creatively and lovingly. Now, you are, of course, certainly free to ask us about our world and about other worlds in the Interstellar Alliance, but also please do not lose focus that the most important thing right now is to allow yourself to focus on what is going on your world and how you can help it to change in positive ways. Remember, please, that the first and most important principle of helping to change the world is to first change yourself individually. But you can understand something very important about people that are going in a spiritual and positive direction. Positive energy is integrative and joins together exponentially, geometrically more powerful. Negative energy causes things to separate and move away from each other and goes into more apparently disconnected pieces. So let us imagine that there may be 1,000 people that are doing negative things on your planet, but it only would take 10 people working together positively to completely balance the 1,000 negative people. That is why you are seeing now such an acceleration of spiritual growth and interest on your planet, because it doesn't take very many people to move in that direction to start a great impact of change upon the whole world. So remember how powerful it is to work together, but at the same time, allow yourself to explore the uniqueness of each of yourselves individually in bringing your unique gifts to the whole world to have positive change. What we have said up to this point has been a lot for you to absorb, and if you wish at this time, we can begin with question interaction if you believe that would be of benefit. It is important for us in this interaction to know, through interaction with each of you, that you are understanding and absorbing these principles and that these concepts are clear so that you can use them powerfully in the world instead of being confused. So I ask, is it your wish that we begin this question interaction at this time? You may decide as you wish and let us know. Is that a yes? Well, all right. Please then begin with questions. And what is your timing on your planet at this moment?
12 o'clock noon.
All right. Do you wish to have the questions now, or do you wish to wait after your break? We want you all to be comfortable. Is it best for you after break?
After the break.
All right. Then, we wish each of you to go and have some fun and go and think about what has been said and contemplate this as you nourish your body. And we will resume this communication after your break. Thank you very much. Say greetings to you once again, and that you all enjoy your nourishment. If you are all now refreshed, we may begin to have questions for the continuation of this communication. And to you, good day.
I am glad to see you today.
Oh, thank you.
I am finally being able to meet the person that I've been wanting to meet for 10 years. That's somebody I have been loving for 10 years.
All right, we are very, very happy to be meeting with you.
You mentioned that there will be a small-scale encounter or meeting between our year of 2013 to 2025.
Yes.
Could you be more specific about the small scale? What does it mean exactly?
All right, yes, thank you. The idea is that there will be around your planet a few places where there will be perhaps one-on-one meetings. Some of these may be official and some of them may be unofficial. Some of these meetings will take place with governments and some of them will not. And as word of these meetings spreads, then more and more people on your planet will get used to the idea of these encounters. Does that answer your question sufficiently? Or is there some other aspect you wished to discuss?
Let's say if we would like to have a small-scale encounter prior to that, what are the things we can do for that, before that encounter?
All right, thank you. Again, remember that there are certain things that need to occur within the energy of individuals. But first, I must say, it is important not to focus so much on needing to have those encounters. The way to accelerate the time of having any such encounters is to make strong changes within yourself and in your community and in your planet. And this involves all the things that you already know we have said about acting on your excitement and acting creatively and so forth, and transforming your fears and so forth into positive energy. There are many, many different beings that are aware of the humans on Earth and how they are changing and what they are doing. And so you do not have to worry that you will miss the right time for such an encounter, for we are very aware of when you will be ready for such an encounter. Now, at the same time, there is something else you can do that can help accelerate the time of such encounter. Remember that, of course, one of the reasons why encounters have not occurred is because many people on your planet do not know that we exist. Or many people on your planet, such as certain government people, do not want these encounters. But the more people on your planet that request that such encounters take place, it will make it more possible for such encounters to take place. So, the more people that you can work together with to share with other people that we exist and that you would like to, both in meditation and outwardly, vocally, extend an invitation for an encounter, then the sooner such encounters can happen. If the majority of people on your planet actually sent a message into space via radio or some such device that actually said, "We know you are there, we all agree you are there, please come and visit," then such encounters could happen much more quickly. So the more people that you can help get to the place where they are willing to extend such an invitation for such encounter, then the faster such encounter can occur. But it must go hand in hand with the transformation of fear within yourselves, because no matter how much you ask for us to visit you, we will not as long as we think you will be afraid. Now, many people think, "Oh, well, I am not afraid. I can meet you tomorrow." And many people over the 20 of your years that we have been communicating to you have asked us, "Please, please, I am not afraid. Let us set up a place and time for a meeting." 3 times we have agreed to such arrangements. And every single time, without exception, each time that the person thought we were about to land, they ran away, very scared. And that shows us that they were not really ready. And this goes back to what we explained about the difference in our frequency of energy. Because there is another effect that being in proximity to our higher energy causes within you. When you are exposed to our higher energy, the energy of your consciousness tries to match it. It tries to rise to match our energy. In other words, our energy field encourages your energy field to operate more holistically, more fully. But when your energy field operates more fully, that means that if there is anything within your consciousness that you have not faced, any issues that need resolution, the higher energy field forces those issues to the surface, and they can frighten you if you're not ready to deal with them. So those people ran away not because they were afraid of us, but they realized when we got very, very close that they were starting to feel a lot of things and fears within themselves, that they were afraid of themselves, and so they ran so they would not have to be exposed to them right now. So to sum it up, in conjunction with asking us to visit, sending more invitations for us to visit, must also come the balancing of your own internal energy and the transformation of your fears. Does that help you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next questioner. Let us today remember the following thing. Since we understand that you have a limited amount of time for these interactions, each person asking a question would find it perhaps helpful if they would just focus on the most important single question, since they probably will not have time to ask more than one. Because again, it is very important that the things we are discussing in this communication have an opportunity to really become clear to you so that we can work together to understand what it is that needs to happen to make your world the place you wish it to be, as well as your own personal lives. So whether it is something about yourselves or whether your question is something about us, let us both attempt to design the question so that the answers and information serves you in the best possible way for your life. Question. And to you, good day.
About 10 years ago, I went to your private session.
All right.
You mentioned at that time that the company that I was running at that time will grow bigger, and it actually did get bigger.
Yes, all right. Thank you.
So the suggestion that you gave me at that time was extremely helpful, so thank you for that.
Oh, all right. Well, we thank you for applying the information, because that is what made the difference, not just our suggestion. You had to have the willingness to act in order to see the result. So thank you.
About ascension,
Yes.
this time the ascension that is happening, I feel, is not just on a global scale, but on a cosmic scale, for example.
Oh yes, to some degree. Everything in creation is, in a sense, always expanding, always growing, always ascending. But there are also local areas of, shall we say, pockets of different kinds of ascension going on at different times. So, for example, our civilization is also in ascension, just as yours is, but we are at a different place in our ascension, and so we are ascending together, but in different levels. So as we assist you and your people with your ascension, these interactions also assist us and our people with our ascension, and others as well. So thank you.
Can I continue?
Do you have a question?
I feel that the dimension is moving from a third, fourth to fifth, and we're moving towards new dimension. And when I think about what it is that we can do in order to assist that, I think, and one of the things that I'm thinking about is the need to break through this thing called time. You mentioned, as you mentioned yesterday in our time frame, the illusion of time.
Yes.
And what it is that we can do in order to break through this notion or illusion of time.
All right, thank you. Now, please do understand, you will not give up the illusion of time completely in your transformation, not quite yet. But it can become very, very much more flexible for you. It is good to break through the illusion of time, but at the same time recognize that it does serve a purpose. And you can learn to use the illusion in a different way as an illusion. The first thing to understand about the illusion of time is that it exists for the purpose of allowing you to have an experience of change. Without the experience of change, you would simply have change from one thing to another with no intermediate experience of the change. Now, while it is a valid thing to be able to view all of these different aspects of the infinite like that, the idea of the experience of change is also very important. Because the experience of change is what puts you in touch with being a creator and gives you a sense of the act of creation. But by allowing the illusion of time to become more flexible, then this experience of change and acts of creation can be experienced in a different way, a more accelerated way. Now, you can use many different kinds of analogies to understand how there really is no time. We have often referred to things such as holographic pictures on your planet or movie film frames on your planet in order to illustrate the nature of how there really is no time. There are now, just beginning on your planet also, to be books written by your theoretical physicists who are also beginning to understand that there is no time. One such book on your planet that has just been created is called The End of Time. One thing, therefore, you could possibly do is to read that book, and it may help you develop a way of perceiving the universe from a timeless frame of reference. This can be understood through the sciences that you call quantum mechanics and relativity. Or, for those of you who do not necessarily prefer the scientific approach, you can use the other analogies we mentioned in the following way. You can meditate more on the analogies of the motion picture film strip, in that you know that each frame of the film is there at the same time as all the other frames of the film. So even though one frame or many frames may represent the past of the story, and frames may represent the present of the story, and other frames on the film strip represent the future of the story, all the frames are nevertheless all there, all at once. So you could meditate on the image and the feeling of the idea that physical reality, past, present, and future, is also similar to this notion. Another approach would be, of course, to recognize that since time doesn't really exist or is an illusion, then that is also true of what you call motion. Because in your third-dimensional reality, motion is a change in time. You say, now my hand is here, and now my hand is here. That motion represents a change over time. But there really isn't any motion, just as there really isn't any time. To further this example, you will find that between here and here, there are an infinite number of positions of your hand. All of those positions exist all at the same time. So you can understand that if they all exist at the same time, then there really is no time. And there really is no motion. But there is the illusion of motion and the illusion of time as your consciousness focuses on any one or more of those particular positions that all exist at the same time. The illusion of motion from here to here or here to here or any direction is created through your mind, through your consciousness. This is one now, this is another now, this is another now, this is another now, this is another now, and so on. As we said, time and space are side effects of the average of all the different nows that exist within the universe. And the illusion of motion is a side effect of your mind's relationship to all of those different nows. But if you can practice, perhaps, in your imagination, seeing all the different positions all at the same time, then you can gain some sense of the true timelessness of existence. And you can use this sensation of timelessness within the space-time illusion to create certain changes then more creatively and very rapidly. For example, our civilization has learned to use this concept with regard to space travel. We know that our spaceship exists at the starting point and the ending point of the journey at the same time. We understand that those two different present moments each are different because they have a slightly different signature frequency. In other words, location or position is not something that an object exists in. Location is actually one of the properties that defines an object. Now, follow this very closely. We understand that the spaceship that leaves the destination and the spaceship that arrives at the destination is not the same spaceship. Just as we understand that the hand that is in this position and the hand that is in this position and all the hands in between is not the same hand. They are all different hands. So we understand that if we then put an energy vibration into our spaceship that is the same energy vibration of where we want to be, then the ship will just stop being where it is and start being where it needs to wind up. We will not have spent any time going through space to get from here to here. The ship will just be here, and then the ship will just be there. We know it is not the same ship, but we also know how to use the illusion of space-time to create the illusion of continuity so that it makes us feel as if it is the same ship and the same people inside who have taken the journey. So if you understand that your body standing at the microphone and your body in the chair are two different yous, then you will understand there is an infinite number of you. With more understanding of how to use timelessness, you can then realize that you can do one of two things. Just to use this example. You can either get up from the chair to the microphone and then get from the microphone back to the chair in the normal way. Or you can just be in the chair and then suddenly just be at the microphone and then suddenly just be back at the chair. Or, when you know even more and master the idea of timelessness even more, you can be in the chair and at the microphone at the same time. This is to some degree what I am doing with all of you right now. Because I am carrying on a communication not only with you on your planet, but with several other individuals on other planets at the same time, using different versions of me to do all those interactions. Does this help you exercise your imagination a little bit to figure out how you can imagine and use timelessness a bit more?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have fun practicing with it. And don't worry if from time to time you feel like you're losing yourself. You'll be all right. Because remember, if there really is no time and no space, then there really isn't anywhere else for you to go but right here and right now. Next question.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So excited to see you.
Thank you.
What I'm doing right now is using imagery method and therapy to support people who are suffering from cancer.
All right, thank you.
You talked about the power of the fear that it has.
Fear, yes.
It is often said that what people are afraid of the most is death. Because the cancer patient often directly connects cancer with death, they are often faced and are afraid of death themselves. So one of the biggest tasks or the work is how to have a healthy belief towards death.
All right.
One question is about death. The first part is, if death is the natural part of life, why are we so afraid of death? And the next question is...
Yes.
And you mentioned that in the next 10 years or so there will be a raise in consciousness and in spirituality. If that is the case, will our attitude towards death are likely to change also in those 10 years?
Yes. The answer to the second part of your question is yes. More spiritual understanding will help people realize that death is not the end, it is just a change. Now, in 10 years, not everyone on your planet will lose their fear of death. But in time, all of them will. But in 10 years, many, many more people will understand that death is not the end and they will no longer fear it. And that is really the answer to the first part of your question. The reason that they fear death is because they think that is the end of them, not just a change. They think they will no longer exist. In other words, it is mostly the physical ego structure, the mental part of your personality that feels like it will no longer exist. Now, in a way, this is true. The physical personality, obviously, will no longer be around. Now, of course, I mean that from within the view of the time-space illusion. Because, obviously, as we have already been discussing, in the timelessness of creation, the physical personality will exist forever. But from the personality's point of view within space and time, it will, in a sense, no longer be around. And because many people on your planet, through fear, are not in touch with the fact that the physical personality is only just a part of their consciousness, they think that when the physical personality dies, that means all of them dies. Of course, when the physical being transitions in death, they first realize very quickly that they are still in existence and they are still conscious of who they are. But they are just conscious of themselves now in a different way. At least that is generally true for most people on your planet. There are some people who are so very disconnected and out of touch with the idea of their consciousness that even when they die, they don't know they're dead. They just think something funny has happened and they can't quite remember what it is, but they still think they're alive, physically. And so their vibrational energy stays very close to the vibrational energy of the physical world. And it is these kinds of low-energy spirits who think they are still physically alive that you call ghosts when they stay in buildings, and you call that haunting. Because as far as they know, they still live on Earth, and they still live in their house, and they still walk their little ghost dog. And eventually there will be spirits who will look like other people to them, who will make friends with them and over time get them to realize that they are actually physically dead. Do you understand? Does this answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question.
Hello to you.
And to you, good day.
There is a book called Seth Material.
Yes.
Do you know about it?
Yes, I know, Seth.
In that book it says that you say that all that is recognizes that all that is yourself.
Yes.
Because we cannot confirm that there are other beings who exist beside ourselves, we are always constantly searching. I recall that paragraph from that book. There is space in which amount of existence will increase.
Give us the translation one more time. There is some confusion in translation.
There is the book.
Yes, but just the last part. About what he is asking about some space.
For example, amount of the entire existence, does it decrease and increase? Do they
No.
change in amount?
No. All that is all that is. There can be increase and decrease of different realities within all that is, but all that is always all that is. Because all that is simply here and now. There is no place to increase to or decrease from. Does that make sense in the translation?
If that is the case,
Yes?
all that is that Seth mentions in the book,
Yes?
it would be helpful if you can read the book yourself, perhaps.
We understand the entire contents of all the Seth material. We are waiting for you to ask a specific question.
All
Yes?
that is,
Yes?
although we recognize that there is no existence beside our existence, but there is a similar gestalt beside ourselves. All that is itself cannot recognize whether there are other gestalt beside ourselves, beside our own existence. That's what it says in the book.
Do you mean
So
beside itself or beside ourselves?
Itself, what you often refer to as infinite or the creator. That's what I mean by itself.
Yes. Yes, and so what specific idea of this are you attempting to discuss? It is not clear what part of this you wish to discuss. You are stating a concept, and we understand the concept, but we do not really know where you wish to take this concept. What is it you wish to understand?
So what Seth is saying is...
Everything that Seth is saying is correct. Does that help you?
Are they correct?
Everything that Seth says is correct. But you must understand that those concepts are being translated into different languages, which sometimes may confuse some of the meaning or give different meanings to different people. And this is why it is helpful to discuss some of these ideas sometimes in more detail, so that we can all make sure that the terminology being used is talking about the same thing, that we all have the same understanding of what is being said. So, that is why we say, we know that everything that Seth says is correct, but we do not yet understand if our understanding of Seth and your understanding of Seth are in alignment. Because maybe the translation is not creating the same terms.
I do have an English original paragraph. Can the interpreter read it for you? It's written in English.
All right, if it is not too long.
May I?
Yes, please.
どうぞ。
Are you going to read me a story?
So Bashar, I'll read it to you, the original English
All
version
right.
that I have with me.
Go right
The
ahead.
gentleman asked me to read the following paragraph. All that is knows no other. This does not mean that there may not be more to know. It does not know whether or not other psychic gestalt like it may exist. It is not aware of them if they do exist. It is constantly searching. And by the way, I is all capital I.
Understood.
Thank you. That's the entire paragraph.
All right, thank you very much. Now I
どうもありがとうございました。
understand what you are getting at. So, we will discuss that in the following way. But let us ask you a question. Do you understand the meaning of the term parable?
Parable.
Yes, a parable. A story to explain an idea. This paragraph is not a description of all that is literal understanding of itself. It's a story in your human language to explain a point of view that is otherwise unexplainable. We will attempt to say the same idea in a different way to see if this might make a different kind of sense. First, of course, you must understand that the primary definition of all that is quite literal. So, all that is does know itself as all that is, but in order for all that is to really be all that is, it must also contain the idea that it doesn't know itself. But all that is not all that is not. It only contains the idea of itself as being not. So that all that is can then have the experience of wondering if there is another. But it is only an experience within all that is. That doesn't mean there actually is another all that is. Seth is only talking about one of the possible experiences that all that is can have of itself. He is not actually saying that there really is another all that is. Does that help clarify the paragraph?
It's a very unique interpretation.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I am playing along with it.
All right. Are you having fun? Of course, remember that from a third-dimensional space-time such as your planet, these kinds of concepts can be always somewhat difficult to imagine. It is always best, therefore, just to start with the understanding that all that is all there is. And because it is everything, it can have any kind of experience of itself it wants to, because it contains everything imaginable. It can even have the experience of forgetting that it is all that is. And the experience of all that is, forgetting that it is all that is called separate parts. For example, humans. Because most of human history has been all that is playing the game of forgetting that it is all that is. And through the game of forgetting that it is all that is, it gets to rediscover itself with surprise. And it gets to discover new perspectives of itself. That's the only way it can do it. Because from the highest level of all that is, it can never forget that it is all that is. So all that is had to create different levels within itself in order to have the experience of not knowing that it is all that is, or whether it is alone, or many other ideas called mystery. And so if all that is could not create the idea called mystery, then all that is would be incomplete. It wouldn't be all that is. So the paradox is that in order for all that is to actually be all that is, it also has to have a part of itself that doesn't know it's all that is. Then it can be the whole idea that contains the paradox of existence and non-existence, or wholeness and partness. Does that help?
All that is created. It's a fiction of all that is. So it is not possible for other existence beside all that is to exist.
No,
is that so?
Just listen to the definition. All that is. Because anything else you could think of besides all that is automatically must be a part of all that is. Otherwise, all that is not all that is. But this leads to another very, very important understanding. And that is this. Anything, everything you can imagine must be a part of all that is, and therefore must somewhere be real. Because if it wasn't a part of all that is, it wouldn't be possible to imagine it. Does that make sense? Stop. Does that make sense, yes or no?
I will rephrase that for you. At the moment we can imagine what is written in that book, since it is happening within part of all that is.
What I am saying is that anything that is possible to imagine is real. You cannot imagine non-existence. It is not possible to imagine something that does not exist. By definition, your imagination wouldn't work. There is nothing in non-existence for you to imagine. So if you can imagine it, it must automatically, by definition, be a part of existence and therefore be a part of all that is. Because there is no outside to all that is. All that is everywhere. It is everything. There is no beyond it. The concept of beyond is only inside all that is. So you see, this is part of the illusion of space and time. You can have the idea and the imagination that there might be something beyond all that is, but you have to remember that you're having that imagination within all that is. Therefore, it's just a game happening inside of all that is. The idea of beyond is not really something that exists. But the idea that there might be something beyond all that is just another way that all that is has of looking at itself. That makes some sense to you now, yes? All right, well, thank you for playing.
I have one more thing.
Let us move on so that others may have a chance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you coming up to your break time?
It's appropriate. We can have a break now and continue the question afterwards.
All right. You may enjoy your short break and we will continue our communication afterwards. Thank you. All right, I'll say let us continue with your question. And to you, good day.
My name is Miyata.
All right.
There's a question for you.
Yes.
In Japan, in a certain location, there is a gathering of same soul group gathering together after many thousands of years. Are you aware of this?
We are aware that there are collections of such types all over your planet.
I have encountered such a group and I have been wanting to do, there is something that I have been wanting to do originally.
Yes.
If there is any advice concerning this, could you give me one?
Your question is somewhat vague. What is it you actually wish to know or understand?
Rather than specifically, there is something that you can be aware of from Bashar's perspective that is of a positive nature, that can have a positive effect. I wanted to ask you about that.
Are you referring to the idea of what impact the gathering of the soul group will have, or are you referring to something else? You mentioned that there was something you wanted to do. Does that have to do with what you are asking?
Yes, it has something to do with that.
Well, what is it you wanted to do?
To spread the truth along with those people.
Can you define for us what you consider to be the truth in 25 words or less?
No.
No? Are you sure? We've been saying it all throughout this communication.
Maybe 25 is a bit much, but...
Well, you can do it in less. What do you deem to be the truth that you wish to spread? The truth about what?
Taking an example, to spread love that is similar to that of Mother Teresa.
All right. You wish to do similar things in the world to that individual? Is that what you are saying?
Yes, that's right.
Is that something that you are already doing, or something you're going to be doing, or just want to do?
In a sense, this is something that I have now.
That you are doing now?
Yes.
And in what way are you doing it like Mother Teresa? Are you going around and comforting the sick and helping them heal? Are you going around and reminding individuals that all that is loves them unconditionally? Yes? No?
Yes. Yes.
You are doing these two things?
Yes.
All right, then what else needs to be discussed other than the knowledge that doing this is going to have a positive impact upon the entire planet? You already know that it will. Every single individual makes a difference to the entire universe. Every single thing that any individual does creates, in a sense, a whole new universe. Because any change is a total change of everything. So the impact any single act has is that it has an impact on everything. And I am not just using a metaphor. If you understand that everything is one, or if you wish to put it this way, that everything is connected, then everything that you do must affect in some way, shape, or form everything else everywhere. Now, granted, there may seem to be different degrees or different kinds of impact along the focal point of where it is you are actually doing the work. And that is up to you to determine based on exactly what kind of actions you are taking as to what kind of results will occur. But helping others to know they are loved and helping others to heal themselves will always have a tremendously positive impact upon your world and everything else. Does that address your question sufficiently?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And to you, good day.
I am very excited to be able to meet you again.
We thank you for this interaction.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to you. First of all, I am deeply grateful to you because for past 10 years I have been applying the things that you have conveyed to us, taught me, and as a result of that, I am being able to lead a very exciting life. For that, I am grateful.
We are deeply grateful to you then because in doing so, you make a positive difference.
Today, I have two questions.
All right.
They are divided into big theme and small theme.
All right.
First of all, the big question is, during the morning session, you mentioned that there are over 40-something interstellar alliance. I want to know if they include the entire planet within the solar system.
What I said is that there are 415 planets within our interstellar alliance. This has nothing to do with your solar system of Earth and planets around your star. These are completely different solar systems and planets. Now, there are other alliances, other associations besides ours. But your solar system is not part of any alliance or association at this time that we belong to. Now, energetically, yes, you are a part of our alliance since you are going to be joining us, but we are talking about officially, in what you would call a political sense. You do not belong to our alliance at this time. But that is why we are having these diplomatic relations. Does that make some sense?
So in this solar system, beside our planet Earth, there is no advanced planet such as yours, the one that you have come from.
No. There are, however, intelligences attached, in a sense, in other dimensions to other planets in your solar system, but there is no other physical civilization in your solar system other than your own that is natural to your solar system.
The second one is the small theme question.
Oh, all right, small theme.
I would like to ask you about your life in your star
All
system.
right.
Do you have children?
Yes.
What do you eat? What do you drink? How many hours of sleep do you get?
Nothing, none. In what you call our past, we used to eat, we used to drink, we used to sleep. But we have evolved to a point where we now subsist directly on energy because our civilization is becoming less and less physical and more energy. But it has been 3,000 of your years since we were like you. But please understand that this does not mean that there is not still a lot to enjoy in our civilization. There is art, there is music, there are many different kinds of creative experiences.
So, for example, do you take baths? What do you do with toxins, or are you free from toxins
There
already?
are no toxins at this time because they cannot exist within our energy forms. Our vibrations are too high to support toxins. Only lower vibrations can, in a sense, harbor toxins.
I can more or less imagine, but when you're having children, there are more or less physical contact that we have in this earth, like we do.
There is, at this point, an energy blending that creates a third entity. It used to be a physical act. In this case now, it is more of an energetic blending that thus allows there to be an energy vessel created for the consciousness of a third entity to appear. Now, when we thus then in the future interact with Earth, you will still perceive us as somewhat physical, but that will be mostly an appearance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to make this earth closer to the one that you are living in, the world that you're living in. So please continue to give us support.
We will always give you support as long as you also choose to support yourselves, because that is what is important. Because if you do not support yourselves, then we have no power to support you. Thank you. And to you, good day.
I am very excited because this is the first time I meet you.
All right, thank you. We are always excited.
In the place where I work, there are about 60 employees, and there are lots of grudge, and there are lots of complaining, and we are not getting along.
All right.
At least that is what I think. And I've been asking for transfer because I would like to move to a workplace where the place where it excites me more.
All right, thank you.
I am confused because although I have been asking for transfer, this has not happened. So what I'm thinking about is perhaps in my so-called subconscious level, I may have chosen to stay in the present workplace so that this workplace may change.
That may be a possibility, but let us examine this further. So let me ask you a question, if I may. Do you believe that you can contribute to your workplace in such a way as to allow the workplace you're already at to become a more exciting place to be? Or do you believe more strongly that your highest excitement is more correctly representative of finding another place? Or do you believe that your highest excitement might be even in the creation of a whole new idea or company or work? Or do you believe, perhaps most strongly, that your highest excitement may even be something I haven't even mentioned yet? No more ors. What do you believe?
I am starting to become aware of myself. I feel that I cannot truly become excited myself on my own.
Why not? You do not have the ability to be able to choose to act on the most exciting thing at any given moment? Is that what you are saying? Or are you saying that acting on your highest excitement, you are afraid or do not trust that it will actually take you anywhere? Or you are afraid that acting on your highest excitement is not safe or something? Do you feel you need more information of some kind or more experience or knowledge of some kind in order to act on your highest excitement?
I think what applies is the last part of what you mentioned.
All right. Well, do you have some idea in your head of what it is that does excite you the most that you think you need more information on before you take action on it? And if so, please share what that is. What excites you? What excites? Keep it simple. What do you get excited about?
To empathize with several people.
Empathize about what? Or to do what with the empathy?
To feel happiness, to feel happy.
All right. So, what about reversing that too? Would you be happy empathizing with people and in the same way allow them to become happy empathizing with you?
Yes, I used to think I was not able to do that, but right now I'm starting to feel that I can do it.
That you can do which one? Both? Empathize with them or have them empathize with you or what?
No, I'm starting to feel that probably in the beginning I may be empathizing just with myself, by myself, but as I'm starting to empathize with myself, maybe I will be able to share that empathy together with people.
All right, but in what form would you like to share that empathy? In what expression? In what creative manner would you like to share that empathy? How do you see yourself in your imagination sharing that empathy? What's happening in the picture of your mind when you see yourself sharing empathy? What's going on? Describe it.
I am perhaps talking or making something. I am doing good work.
Yes, and? What are the other people doing? Where are you? Where are you in the picture? What's surrounding?
I am at the workplace, actually.
You are at workplace?
Yes.
And you find that in this picture, while you are at workplace, you feel that you are very excited doing what you are doing? You see that in the picture?
In my imagination, yes.
All right. Well, is there some reason why the picture in your imagination cannot also be real?
That is the part I cannot understand because the place is filled with negative energy and somehow I cannot direct it in a positive direction.
It is not about directing their energy, it's about directing your energy. I see where you are having a misunderstanding. It is not about changing someone else's energy. It's about changing your energy so that their negative energy has no effect on you. It's about being creative enough to take their negative energy and transform it into positive energy for yourself. Not necessarily immediately for them. Then when you know that your choices will always allow you to choose a positive feeling and a positive energy no matter what they are doing, then maybe you might have an effect on them. But changing them cannot be the reason that you do that. You must just decide what is true for you, regardless of what they choose to do. If in any situation you feel you are being stopped or blocked by negative energy, then that's because you are buying into it too, not because they're stopping you. Understanding that it is your choice to transform that energy within yourself for yourself first will lead you generally to one of two actions. The first choice will be to just stay in the same place and reflect and shine positive energy no matter what it is they're doing. No matter what. So, no matter how much they are like this, you are always like this. No matter what. Not because you are pretending, but because that's what you really prefer to feel for yourself. Now, maybe one of them will come up to you and go, "Why are you always so happy?" You can just say, "Because I prefer to be." And then you can say, "Why don't you give it a try? I'll bet you like it." But if they don't, and they still go away being very angry, that doesn't mean that you have to be sad or disappointed or feel like they do. You can just say, "Oh, poor little sad person." And then you can say, "Now, what else exciting can I do?" So, you can choose to do that kind of approach, or you can simply recognize that when you choose just to be happy, you may truly no longer fit in that place, and you can leave. Knowing that if you do it from your happiness, you'll wind up where you need to be. Does that make some sense to you?
Yes, extremely helpful. Thank you for that.
Thank you so very much.
I am deeply encouraged by what you said earlier this morning. The part about even though there are 1,000 people with negative attitude, there is 10 people with positive attitude. You can change that energy. That comment encouraged me very much to move forward. So thank you for that comment.
We thank you for accepting that idea within your belief system.
Thank you very much.
And to you, good night.
My name is Kuroki. That's my last name.
Oh, all right.
It's been only about 3 months since I got to know Bashar.
それまでで、
And up until 3 months ago, I knew nothing about you, Bashar. And
Oh, that's all right. 3 months ago, I knew nothing about you either.
And also the reason why I got to know you is because part of what I do is I am learning how to heal. I am learning healing. And
right.
the teacher who is teaching me about the healing, the art of healing, recommended me the book about Bashar. And that's
right.
how I got to know you.
Are you enjoying your healing work?
Yes.
Do you have some question that you would like to ask about that or something else?
A different theme, actually.
A different theme.
別のことです。
All right.
はい。And the night that I read the book, I had a dream, and in that dream, I saw a triangular shape in that dream.
Yes.
And there were 3 people, myself and 2 other friends. They represented each point of the triangle in my dream.
Yes.
And it was
人
a
が入ってる
geometric
ようなイメージだったんですが、
sort of dream.
それが後で
And
見てると
the
いうイメー
image
ジだ
that
っ
I
たんで
got
す。
was 3 of us were getting together and looking at the geometric shape. And also there was other me who was witnessing or looking at those 3 people discussing about the shape.
Yes.
And I wondered about that dream, and I consulted or I talked with lots of my friends.
Yes.
それで
And
一週間
And
僕驚いたんで
after
す。
a week that I had a dream, actually in that week, following week, I continued to read a book about or by Bashar.
Yes.
And in one of the Bashar's book, it said that in the planet of Esasani, where you're from, there is a game similar to the dream that I saw. Actually,
Yes.
it involves triangular shape.
Yes.
And when I read that paragraph, I was deeply surprised.
Why?
I was surprised because at the time when I was having that dream, I have not encountered that particular part in your book. So at the time when I saw that image in my dream, it was completely new to me.
Yes. You see how the space-time illusion is there in order to create surprise? Remember that many of you have counterparts on our planet and other worlds, and you are very familiar with playing that game. You do it a lot. But now it is being introduced into your consciousness in a way that you can utilize that idea in your healing work as well. So you can see that the second surprise for you is to understand that while you thought this was a different theme, it actually isn't. Because you can learn and practice with the idea that 3 people of similar intention surrounding a person in the middle needing to be healed can be a very powerful thing. When the 3 people forming the triangle synchronize their energy frequency, perhaps through breathing and or meditation, then the person in the center is given an opportunity to feel that energy and change their energy to match that energy and thus heal themselves more quickly. So you are creatively using a game on our planet to help create a new idea of energy healing on Earth, you understand. Is this exciting?
Extremely exciting.
Oh, all right. I know you are going to have lots of fun playing this game on Earth and helping people. It will also help you to feel very, very good. Now, I have another tip for you. If at any time while you are wondering exactly how to do this, get 3 children to do it for you. They will show you how. Because children have not forgotten how to play. And the healing energy is very similar to the energy of play. And so by observing and mirroring the energy of the children standing in the triangle with a 4th friend in the center, you will gain inspiration and insight as to how to do it as an adult. Best, perhaps, for your purposes, to use children of between 7 and 13 years of age to study the proper frequency range that is required for different types of healing. The younger children for learning the energy patterns that are required for certain kinds of physical healings or emotional healings. Older and older children up to the age of 13 for the kinds of healings that also may involve more the idea of emotional, mental, psychological healings rather than just physiological. The key, of course, is to remember what it felt like to do that in what you call your dream, which is simply reality in another dimension. When you remember what that energy felt like, you will be at the proper starting point energy to begin the healing. Then you can allow your energy field to fluctuate in frequency depending upon your intuition of where the energy needs to go for the specific kind of healing that needs to be done. Now, also as an augmentation, please all remember that healing is also the product of a few what you might call very practical ideas too. For a person to be more receptive to the healing energy, it would also be wise that their body is free of toxins and given lots of purifying, cleansing water. Otherwise, if the body has many toxins, there may be more resistance to the healing vibration. The body, in that sense, or the energy field, may respond sluggishly. But you can help the body to be healed become more receptive to the healing energy with such things as cleansing and liquid fasts, and with meditations and yogic style of breathing. Does this help you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Then, let us remember what was discussed in this communication that is important to incorporate in your life. Your world is going through many changes now. You can ride these changes smoothly when you understand that the changes are the product of the changes within you. These changes are not happening outside of you. There is no outside. Physical reality is but a reflection, a mirror, a metaphor for what is going on inside your consciousness. When you explore the issues of beliefs and definitions and feelings within yourself, then you will understand the changes going on within you and the changes going on in your world. And now, we would like to ask you all the following. Become comfortable in your seats.
やっていただきたいことが
Close your eye. Relax. Breathe slowly and deeply. Breathe in and breathe out. Like the waves upon the shore. Like the breeze through the trees. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel in your body and in your imagination your heart beating softly and warmly. Allow your shoulders to relax. Allow all of your muscles to relax. Allow all of your bones to relax. Allow the muscles in your jaw and around your eyes to relax. Breathe in, breathe out, softly, gently. Allow your imagination to float, to open up. See a beautiful place. Whatever you wish that place to be, make it your place of perfect peace. It can be anywhere, it can be anything, it can be any time at all. But see your place of peace. Allow yourself to gaze out at your place of perfect peace. Whether you are lying down or sitting or standing or floating It does not matter. Whether you are physical or non-physical doesn't matter. Let everything in, leave nothing out. Do not shut out sounds. Invite them in to your place of perfect peace. Imagine that everything you see, everything you hear, everything you feel fits perfectly somehow in your place of perfect peace. Feel calm and relaxed, joyful and peaceful. Time is an illusion. There is no time. Space is an illusion. There is no space. The world is an illusion. There is no world. The universe is an illusion. There is no universe. There is only you. You are your place of perfect peace. There is nothing else. Allow yourself to know that this place is as the world truly is. Anything other than this place, this feeling, this experience is just illusion. This is the place of unconditional love. That is all there is. There is nothing else. When you interact with the world from this place, you will be able to use the power of the illusion instead of getting caught up in the illusion of power. Allow yourselves to walk through the world from this space. Radiate this feeling to all whom you come in contact with. Remind yourself that this is the space that is truly you. In all interactions, remain in this space. This space is different for each of you, and it is one and the same space. This is the power of paradox, and this is what will allow you to create heaven on earth. We wish for each and all of you the greatest of blessings, and that is the knowledge that you are unconditionally loved. Allow yourselves to breathe that in and make it your own. It is yours. Nothing and no one can take it from you, because there is nothing and no one but you. And that is true for all of you. And that is true for all of us. And that is true for all that is. Our unconditional love to you all. Good day. Did you all have a good time? Thank you all very much for being here today and allowing me to do this. I appreciate it very much. And please, if you would, give thanks to Maki and to Voice for putting on such a wonderful seminar today. Thank you.